Welcome to the Telescope Show. We laugh, we discover God, and we totally nerd out. Welcome to the show. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson.
And I'm Katie Seipel Anderson.
Thank you so much for listening. On this episode, we're going to share our thoughts about Obi Wan Kenobi. Heading into the final episode, we're going to make some predictions, and we have a special guest who's going to talk about the multiverse. The multiverse.
Yeah, the multiverse is pretty trippy.
It's interesting because it is a real theory in physics, and it's definitely been grabbed onto as a storytelling device in a lot of these shows. So it's something that I think a lot of people are curious about.
I'm curious about it.
Well, hang tight, and we are going to hear from Dr. James Bradford, who is actually a PhD in aerospace engineering, and he's going to talk a little bit about the multiverse and a few other things. And actually, we had an interview with him previously, a part one. So if you like what you hear from Dr. Bradford, you can go back and listen to the first part of our conversation with him. But first off, Katie, did you know that Miss Piggy and Yoda have something in common?
Miss Piggy and Yoda.
Yeah, Miss Piggy and Yoda. It's not their wardrobe.
Definitely not. Not their genre, because very different genres.
Yeah. However, they were both voiced by the same person, puppeteer Frank Oz.
You know, I would never have put that together myself. I wouldn't think, oh yeah, that sounds like Miss Piggy. But it kind of does. They kind of sound, the voice actually of both of them has a similar sound.
I'd love to hear it back to back now because I'm actually curious.
Yeah, for real.
Well, I thought that was a pretty fun and appropriate fact because we're talking about a Star Wars thing today. And he came back. He wasn't just in the original trilogy. He's come back and done the voice for other things also.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
He's in it for the long haul.
He's committed.
I wonder what he got more joy out of, Miss Piggy or Yoda. Did he do just the voice or the puppeteering too?
Well, I know for sure Yoda, he did the puppeteering as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've seen some behind-the-scenes things where they have the stage actually built up so the puppeteers are below, and they're doing the puppeteering and the voice simultaneously.
Ah.
So they're really acting in the scene.
That's kind of cool. Well, did you know that yesterday, June 20th, was National Bring Your Cat to Work Day?
It just brings an amazing visual to my mind.
I'm just going to take this cat on my appointments with me, and
I'm going to bring this litter box into my office.
I'm going to bring the litter box into my office. Yeah, it just seems like cats might not even really want to go to work with you.
I agree. I'd be curious to know who started that. Maybe veterinarian?
Maybe. I mean, people do really love their cats too, but maybe it should be more like you get to stay home with your cat and work day as opposed to bring your cat to work day, because that's a little bit more cat-like.
I would agree with that. I think that would be a great amendment to that holiday. Well, Katie, did you know that different colors of Fruit Loops cereal all taste the same?
What?
Yeah, and I know some of you out there are like, no, they don't. The yellow ones are the best. Well, I'm sorry to report, they all taste the same. It's all in your head.
So theoretically, they could just be like a bowl of brown Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
And they'd taste the same.
Yeah. You know what would be cool? Imagine this. Imagine opening a box of Fruit Loops, and inside are 4 separate little plastic bags with the different colors, so you could mix and match and make it whatever color combination you want.
Ooh, kind of artistic. My cereal is artistic this
That'd
morning.
be fun.
That would be, but I'd be using more plastic, and I feel like we don't really need more plastic to be used in this world right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I can support that.
Did you know that a house cat is genetically 95.6% tiger?
Wow. You see, that's why they shouldn't be brought to work.
Exactly.
They're wild animals.
Sometimes they seem a little like tigers, though, depending on your cat. Our one cat was kind of tigerish, and our other cat is definitely not very tigerish at all.
Well, did you know that Thor Love and Thunder hits theaters July 8th?
Ooh, that's coming up.
Yeah, and I've heard that Thor Love and Thunder was written sort of in the style of a romantic comedy.
Date night.
Hey! So we'll have to go see that one together, actually.
That'd be pretty fun.
That would be
Anyone want to babysit?
Hey! With that, let's head over and talk about Obi Wan Kenobi.
Where are we heading to?
To to a new mental space called Kenobi Land inside our brains.
So unfortunately for me, the space is all just like conglomerated together. I don't have a special space for Yoda versus Kenobi.
Well,
they all are like noodles tying in together.
All right, well then let's just dive into this crazy bowl of spaghetti and see what we find in there.
Exciting.
We talked about this earlier. We agree that Kenobi was very fun, but it's been a bit predictable. You still on board with that?
Yes. My statement still stands with that.
Yeah.
It's been pretty fun. It started a little slow and had some things in the beginning that were kind of unbelievable. Like the chase scene with the princess who looks like she's like 5 or 7 years old, something like that. Sounds like she's like 13 or 14, and they say she's 10. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's sort of an issue going through the whole show. For me, I would say, I don't want to offend you, I think I'm probably the bigger Star Wars fan between the two of us.
No offense taken. Hands down, you are.
So for me, I loved the show's pacing at the beginning because it really showed us where Obi Wan is at. And I really like Obi Wan. He's one of my favorite characters. I enjoy just seeing the character and getting acclimated to this new Obi-Wan, the new kind of depressed Obi-Wan.
And they really, and he started kind of depressed. But again, like we talked about before, the mission seemed to help his character. And they mentioned this several times. Different people said it, or it might have been the same person saying it several times, where it's like you need time to heal. You just need time to heal internally, externally, when he was all burnt and all that kind of stuff. But he just needed some time to heal. And that's true to life in general. Sometimes when things get kind of tough, you need some time to heal from it.
I also think it's been fun to see his character development through this show, and having a mission and a new purpose has sort of brought him back to life. There's been moments where he struggled to use the Force. There was that moment where he's sitting there in the ship trying to move that object and it moves just a little bit. But then as the show has progressed, he's gotten a little more powerful. He was able to hold back the water from that window,
right,
and actually deflect laser blasts with his lightsaber again. So he's sort of coming back to his old self.
Yeah, you can see the fight coming back in him, because at first it was like 2 or 3 stormtroopers were like hard for him to handle. But then by the end, he was like taking on the masses again.
Yeah.
In all his Obi-Wan glory.
You know, I have some mixed feelings about the use of all the practical effects in this, which is a big thing for Star Wars fans because it's more like the original trilogy and they like that. But in the battles with the stormtroopers, having real stormtroopers versus CGI stormtroopers, it doesn't seem as superhuman. I kind of miss the digital.
Really? I kind of like the more raw feeling of the real.
In general, I like the more raw feeling of having real stormtroopers and practical effects, but something about the fight scenes, they seem less amazing.
I'd still say it's better overall.
Huh. All right. I'm just saying mixed feelings. I don't know. I missed it a little bit.
It seems more real. And a lot of things are just not real and not realistic. But that seems more real.
What do you think's going to happen in this final episode?
Well, it seems like Reva's going to live still.
Yeah.
Because she, they had that statement regarding like anger or revenge is a great motivator to get better.
Yeah,
or for
just
healing
to
or
stay
whatever.
alive.
To stay alive. That was what it said. And so, then she saw that message, and Obi-Wan was all like, oh no, something's terribly wrong. So it seems like she's going to probably try to take some sort of revenge.
Yeah.
Probably on Obi-Wan or on the kids or on Owen or someone in that, because seems like she's feeling pretty used by everyone. She hates Darth Vader, but she's like, I can't kill Darth Vader. He's too powerful.
And she's in a tough spot.
She probably hates Obi-Wan a fair bit now, too, especially since it seems like he used her.
And if she lives, that would be the only way for her to have any place back in the Empire. If she could take out Obi-Wan, maybe that would earn her a place back with the Inquisitors, or at least maybe they'd let her live. Here's a question. Do you think Darth Vader and the Grand Inquisitor injured her but let her live purposefully?
I would not be surprised, because they kind of planted that seed of like, Obi-Wan used you, and then they, left her to die, but let her live. They didn't completely kill her. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had hope, if they're going to keep tabs on her and hope that she messes with the good guys.
So we predict that she will be back in the final episode and have some crazy part to play. I also think that Vader will not discover that Luke is his son.
Obviously.
But
he's all shocked when he finds that out in the originals.
I know. But he will come to believe Obi-Wan is hiding something. So I think he might learn a little sliver of information about Obi-Wan, what's going on, but not enough. Not enough to spoil the beans. I also think the writers are going to include something related to this line from A New Hope. Vader says, "When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master." And I think people were up in arms online because they're saying, look, in the original trilogy, Vader basically comes out and says that he hasn't fought Obi-Wan since he was a Jedi. So I think they're going to have to do something to address this line.
Because they did fight. I wonder how they're going to do it. I also wonder, are they ever going to try to introduce the multiverse? It's kind of a going trend in this world in general. Well, not Star Wars world, obviously, but Marvel and DC. And, we're kind of like, it's this thing that's getting out there more and more, and some actual science behind it and people wondering about it. And
yeah, and it would be easy enough to do in Star Wars.
I just don't see it happening, though. The more I think about it, the more it kind of would ruin Star Wars.
I agree. I don't think they'll go there. I think they'll just make that not really a part of Star Wars. And
but that could be how all these people have died and come back.
They're actually alternate versions of themselves.
Alternate versions of themselves.
Well, that would be more satisfying than just having the angry will to live and force willing yourself not to die. You don't think so?
The multiverse is a little unbelievable in and of itself. It's an interesting theory, and it opens this wide range of storytelling abilities. But the idea of a whole bunch of Katies running around out there someplace in different universes or multiverses somewhere.
And I also think it would be overdoing the multiverse to bring that into Star Wars. I think it would, like you said, it would ruin Star Wars, and it's like everyone else is doing the multiverse. Just let Star Wars be its own thing. And I think Star Wars is really just getting to the place where it's starting to expand. They're starting to bring in a bunch of new characters from the animation side over to live action. People are really excited, and I think the multiverse would just be a huge distraction. But it does bring up the question of, what about the multiverse theory in real life? And on that note, Katie and I had an amazing discussion with Dr. James Bradford, who's a PhD in aerospace engineering, and we actually asked him about the multiverse. So let's cut to our conversation with Dr. Bradford.
Do you have any thoughts on the multiverse or how that might affect us as people?
Again, the idea of a multiverse, is really an acknowledgement that it's very unlikely that human life could exist in a universe like we have by accident. So if there's an unlimited number of other universes, the extremely improbable probably had to have happened at least once out there. The problem is you've got, where did those other universes come from? And you've got boundary conditions that still need to be preset for those universes to exist. And so to me, it doesn't get me anywhere. It's the same questions. Where did our universe come from? Okay, so you got an infinite number of them. And so the infinitely impossible may have happened once in one of those universes, and there may be another one of you, but where did those universes come from? So I find the multiverse theories are not very helpful to me.
I'm not a physicist, definitely, but from what I've read about the multiverse theory is at least in part a reaction to the Big Bang and the fine-tuning of our universe and those things pointing to God. And it's funny to me that someone would choose to believe in multiple universes that they can't test and they can't scientifically verify. They would choose to believe that over just simply that our universe maybe was created by God or that our universe is special in some way.
Talk about needing faith.
Yeah.
And that's where the multiverse thing kind of brings here. That's a lot of, it takes a lot of faith.
It does.
That. Yeah.
And it's kind of a unique thing that we're just hearing more about. So I thought I'd bring it up. Sorry to kind of spring that one on you.
No, that's an interesting question.
So, Dr. Bradford, if people are listening and they are enjoying listening to you, where can they find you online? I know you have your podcasts and books and different things like that.
centralassembly.org, centralassembly, one word, .org. That's the church I pastor. You can go there and you can find a section called podcasts. And I do a weekly half-hour podcast. It's largely on leadership, spiritual leadership, in its application. So they can find it at centralassembly.org. I also do a 5 to 6 minute daily online video devotional called The Central Moments. That's a Monday through Friday every day. And then you can see sermons. I do sermon series. I preach at Central. So that would be the main resource. Go to centralassembly.org and click on podcasts or sermons or the Central Moments, and you can access what I have there. Also, jimbradford.org, jimbradford, one word, .org, also has some of my books and some other resources.
Very cool. So if you could bring one piece of technology from Star Trek into the real world, what piece of technology would you choose?
So you're going to end with a real tough question.
Yeah.
That is a tough one. I would probably bring warp drive, although I'm tempted to say transporter technology, but let's say warp drive. That means we can actually get places. In ways we can't right now. So,
well, if we can figure out how to break the speed of light, we could probably figure out transporter technology on our own, right?
Yeah, right. And those food replicators I thought were really cool too. But I think we start with warp drive and everything else kind of falls out from there.
Yeah, I suppose if you can crack the code of that, you can figure out other things too.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Dr. Bradford, do you have any final words of wisdom for us before we sign off?
Well, first of all, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I just encourage our audience. Science is a wonderful thing. Let's not demonize. We in no way want to demonize science. I love science. But we are saying that we can't deify science either and make it a god. Science has its limits of what it can address in our lives. But let's be open to the fact that there is a creator God, and there is a spiritual realm, and there's a whole dimension of what brings value and meaning and reality to life that science can never touch. And so let's stay open to a relationship with Jesus.
So good.
That's a great note to end on. Dr. Bradford, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. You're obviously traveling, producing lots of content, pastoring a church. So we really appreciate it. And we are going to end our conversation there. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt and Katie. Bless you.
Yep. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for listening today. And thank you again, Dr. Bradford, for being a part of our show. We would love to connect with you online. You can look up The Telescope Show on Facebook, Instagram, or you go to thetelescopeshow.com to find our website and all of our 115 episodes. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Yeah, so it's all there for you. Go check it out. And until next time, love you. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.